Hey, what's going on? Benji Kaiser here, and I'm here with Sterling Grinnell, just a master of photography, shooting some really cool stuff, getting more and more into photography, drone footage, videography, and I'm just here to interview him, kind of talk about his story, and see what's going on. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I would highly recommend doing so. We put out videos 6 days a week, and you're not going to want to miss the interviews, graphic design tutorials, and different motivational things as we go. So, Sterling, let me hear a little bit about kind of your background, how you got into photography.
So I had originally gotten into it. My dad, when I was like 10 or 11, he gave me an old flip phone, and that was the first access I had to like cameras at all.
Yeah.
And I remember like on our way to like different errands that we had to run, I was just shooting photos out the window of like buildings, and there was nothing going on, but for something clicked in me that I was like really enjoying it. And then later, a few years later, my parents got me my first camera that was a little more serious. And I would just like shoot everything and go to different church events and shoot it for no reason. They didn't need photos. I don't know. But I would do that, and I remember having a good time with it. And then I just kept progressing. I ended up getting a Nikon D90 after a while, which kind of moved me toward the serious end.
Yeah.
And I started doing a lot of like the fun like trick photography, if you want to call it that, long exposures in the closet with like laser lights and
absolutely.
stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember that.
And just doing a lot of like still life and that kind of photography. And then when I went to college, it all kind of dropped off. I hadn't done it for a while.
And was that recently?
No, it was actually 2014 when I had originally, first year of college.
Okay.
I had to sell my camera in order to get to college. So I had stopped doing photography for a while, like a couple of years. And then me and my friends went out one time to New Orleans and just started like exploring different places down there.
Yeah.
And I was taking photos with one of my friend's cameras. And something, I was just like, why did I stop doing this?
Yeah.
And it kind of hit me again. I was like, this is so much fun. And just like recreating stuff that like made me like, oh, this is so cool. And so that's kind of, again, I got rekindled and a lot more serious over the last year. I was able to save up, purchase my own camera, and then from there, it just took off again. I found the passion in it again. I found the desire to create again. And it just like, I don't even know why I stopped in the first place.
Yeah.
Super weird. But I was able to, get back on it, and then that's kind of where it all came from. Just, chocolate phone to where I am now, so.
Yeah, it's crazy, because I remember when I first started with photography, it wasn't even real. So I got like a Fisher-Price like plastic camera, and it just made like the sound.
Yeah.
And so like, with the flip phone, it's just, I don't know, there's something about seeing the world and wanting to capture what you're seeing.
Yeah.
But recently, I've seen you do some stuff like with the smoke masks. Mm-hmm. That is a super cool series. Yeah. But this smoke mask, where did that idea come from?
It kind of came from, so I do a lot of like browsing through Instagram and just kind of getting ideas. And I know for me, it's important to have a good palette, if you want to call it that, for photography. You have to look at good work in order to create good work.
So creating a backlog in your mind of things and inspiration that you want to do.
It's so important, because when I walk around, I see it. I see like, and it's not like, oh, I remember this guy took this photo that looks like that.
Yeah.
It's just everything kind of comes together.
Yes.
And you have to fill your mind with good photography in order to be able to take good photography. You have to have that palette. I know it refers to stuff.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Like a palette in your mind. So I just kind of keep up with. It's almost a trend now, and there's a lot of pages that are doing that specifically. And I was like, for me, I just want to go try everything. And if I can learn it and master it really quickly, then great. And if not, then it's a challenge for me to learn. So that was one thing that I was like, okay, I'm just going to go try this. Turns out it was a lot easier than you'd think. It's
Yeah.
hard to make smoke look bad, actually. So
Okay,
so,
I mean, just like the seeing the light, the way it captures in the smoke is incredible.
Yeah, so I'd gotten up about 5:45 in the morning in Colorado, gone up to the mountains. There's a cool little like amphitheater in the mountains.
Okay.
That my brother had found. So we went up there and, just shot just literally with the smoke bomb. It's funny though, you can't see in the photos, but my brother is like, he's the one under the mask, and he's coughing up a storm because the smoke is like going right up the mask. Yeah,
and it's all like held in there.
Yeah, and it's colored smoke, and he's like coughing, but the photos turned out great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kind of got the idea to like, I don't know, something that I saw, and I was like, I may as well try this and get out there, and then it, ended up being a lot cooler than I had originally anticipated. So it worked out.
So go out with a plan. That's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people I think who just think, okay, I'll show up at a park and I'll hope to find something. But it's about
at least be familiar with the area. Yeah.
Okay, so it's about the background before you knowing what you want to do, seeing good photos, knowing how to capture from what angles.
Yeah, and I guess it's a little bit of a balance too, because part of me, I don't like to plan everything down to a T.
Okay.
But at least have the basics of like time of day. That's super important. Time of day, where you're going, being semi-familiar with the area, being semi-familiar with your models who you're working with, and then just, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, having a little bit of leeway to be able to, create. And there's a difference between what I do for hobby, like the smoke stuff.
For sure.
I don't get paid for that.
Yeah.
And what I do for work.
Fun.
So what I do for work is a lot more like planned out, and then what I do for hobbies is almost purposely unplanned. And like I said, I kind of got back into it with my friends when we were going out and just hanging out. And the point wasn't to go take photos. That's not why we went out. We would go out and longboard and explore, different abandoned places.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the photos would just come. And I noticed that's when I got all of my favorite work, all of my creative work that I'm not like, okay, everyone has this photo of themselves, standing with blurry water in the background,
or sitting on a dock for an interview,
right? Exactly. So all those photos come from just walking around and finding an old hotel that was destroyed by Hurricane Katrina, and you have like all this debris everywhere. It's not because we planned that out, but you just find those locations, and that's honestly where all my favorite photos come from, and stuff like that.
So the exploration, the spontaneity.
Cool. Definitely.
So you talked about learning and improving your skills. What do you do besides maybe looking at other people's photos? Are there certain educational platforms you go to, videos? What do you do?
My main learning platform is definitely YouTube. I spend a lot of time on YouTube, and I'm a huge fan of just the fact that you can pretty much learn anything on there.
Yeah.
It is an incredible resource. I've learned everything I know from, editing to photography to cinematography, all that's on YouTube.
Yeah.
And usually that's what I do at home. When I get done with classes and when I get done with work, I go back in my room and I just watch videos. And it's
For sure.
It sounds bad.
No, I do that. I listen to stuff all day long at work. Yeah.
But it's amazing, and what I'll do is I'll find a topic that I don't know anything about, watch a video on it until I understand it, and usually what ends up happening is I'll hear something while I'm understanding one topic that I don't understand, and so then I'll move to that.
Okay.
And then I'll move to whatever, and
So
I'll
start
just
opening new
go
tabs
through it,
on new stuff.
And it can be bad if you're watching like funny videos or something. You do the same thing except it's not educational.
Yes.
But that's what I do with photography and videography, and I'll just learn and learn and learn, or I'll see something like I've talked about on Instagram. that I don't know how to do, like, say, a long exposure or something, and I'll go watch someone who does that professionally.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
learn what he says, and those are massive resources. These people have been doing it for years.
Yeah.
And to get there, like, hey, these are 5 tips that I know. You can't. Those take years to learn, and you're just able to just have them for free. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you have decades of experience in minutes.
Yeah, it's insane. So that's my biggest resource is YouTube, and then from besides that is just going out and doing it. That's a massive part of it too.
Yeah.
If you can watch it on YouTube, and if you never try it, you're never going to learn. You have to go do it and find your own, little tips within their tips, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
But that's my biggest resource is definitely YouTube. Besides that, probably just having friends that do the same thing to push you and to like help you out with it. My friend from college, we would go out all the time, and for us it was like a friendly competition, but like
nice.
One of us we'd be walking
sure.
around and one of us gets like the good photo and we're like, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And then you see from him, and he's got his own style and I have my own, and we kind of mesh those when we work together. But just to be able to like have someone to push you to go out and do that. Otherwise,
for sure,
it can be kind of, if you're doing it by yourself, it's a little more interesting.
So recently you just got, back into things, and I mean, tearing it up, producing really great work. What is the gear you use right now, and what is some gear that you want in the future? And I'm going to recommend these below in the description so you guys can check it out and see what he's using and see what he wants. So if you need that.
So right now I shoot with Sony a6300. It's a mirrorless camera.
Okay.
I used to shoot, like I said, with a Nikon D90.
Yeah.
That was good. It's a lot bigger though. Being in college and moving around a lot, I prefer having a mirrorless camera.
Smaller. More
it's smaller, and I was blown away with the quality of it when I got it, and I was so surprised. It's not a super expensive camera. It's about an entry-level professional grade-ish, but the quality is there if you need it, and it's insane. So that's what I shoot with as far as camera body. I use a lens. The kit lens on it is okay. I prefer to shoot with something a little bit faster, like I shoot with a 50mm prime, 1.8.
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty much my go-to for especially portraiture.
Definitely.
But for different scenarios, if I'm indoors or something, sometimes you can't get as far back as you need to with the prime lens.
True.
So that's pretty much all I use right now. As far as what I'd like to get, there's a lot, honestly.
Right?
Yeah. Dream, obviously, would be, I'd actually like to switch over to Canon eventually.
Okay.
But that would be once this became full-time.
Yeah.
Because then I would have a little more time to dedicate to carrying around my equipment. Right now, this all fits in my backpack, and it's easy, and the quality's there. But I'd like to eventually move over to like a 1DX Mark II.
Ooh.
That'd be nice.
Big spender.
Yeah, until then.
Nice.
But if I'm not going to go all the way to 1DX Mark II, I would probably stick with Sony. Shooting mirrorless is so amazing, and just because, like, if for no other reason than watching, the image get changed live on your camera. If you look through like a normal optical viewfinder on a camera, you just see it through a few mirrors and out the lens, and whatever you change in your settings, that doesn't change what you see. But with mirrorless, through the little eye hole is a screen, and through the bottom's a screen, so everything's a screen. And if I make adjustments to my ISO or shutter speed or aperture, I'm seeing those adjustments live.
Yeah, that's
and so
really
I can get long exposures are so much easier. Everything like that is just like a million times easier.
So you don't have to like shoot it, wait to find the result.
Exactly. And long exposure, especially if you're working on something where the light's moving quickly, like sunrise, sunset, or sunrise. Yeah. You take 1-2 minute exposure, it takes 30 seconds to process. There goes in 2.5 minutes, and then you're like, and then if it's really bad and the lighting's way off, you have to make a massive adjustment and hope it works again. Yeah. And there's ways to calculate it and help that. There's math you can do to get it perfect every time. But
that takes time too.
Yeah, exactly. And with mirrorless, you just set it up, kind of adjust it, and then like, okay, this is the amount of light that I want here, so then you just shoot it, and it's done.
All right, so I've seen you do a little bit of video stuff. I mean, recently you put out kind of a compilation of things you're doing. Are you using the same camera for video?
I am. I use that one. That's another reason that I went mirrorless too, is it's very caught up with the video side of things, so I can shoot in 4K, shoot in 1080, 120 frames per second, which is super nice. Yeah. It's pretty hard to make anything look bad in 120 frames a second, to be honest. That's one of my secrets with video, especially not having image stabilization, is shooting everything in slow motion. It'll slow everything down, and you don't have that like micro shake that's super irritating.
Yes, for sure.
But yeah, I use the same camera. I use my iPhone actually, especially the newer phones. They shoot in 4K, and it looks great. And then I'll shoot with a drone every once in a while. It's not something that I own myself. Yeah. But that's
so what drone were you using?
I was using a Phantom 4 Pro Plus. Okay. At the time, and I'm not super familiar with the drone itself, but I know I used to do a lot of like RC stuff when I was littler. Okay. So it kind of came naturally, and those are pretty hard to crash too, actually, because everything's GPS and
that's incredible.
Linked up. So it's not hard at all. And then just with the video side of things, it comes back again to having that palette of like
seeing different stuff.
Yeah, movement is such a key thing that people don't get when they're shooting video. I see so many videos that are just like stable shot here, stable shot here, stable shot here, and just like I'll pretty much find anything in the foreground and just like move behind it or what. For sure. It's like the most basic thing, but it takes everything to the next level. It
keeps interest.
Yeah, and actually video is one of those things. It takes a lot more work than a photo, because a photo you snap 120th of a second and you're done, and that's that moment. But a video is a moving composition, and it's a lot harder. Editing's a lot harder. It takes so much more work. Yeah. But at the same time, it almost has a higher payoff too, because you're watching like a 2 or 3 minute, like the last video that I had done. It took me a long time, like 3 weeks to film it, not every day, but over a course of 3 weeks, and then probably probably 10 to 15 hours I put into
For
editing
sure.
it. And it's not that the video takes that long necessarily, but you move stuff around and be like, okay, this would actually be better here.
Yeah.
Moving stuff back and forth, it takes a lot of work. Especially with those programs, they're not beginner friendly
No,
at all.
not at all. I use Premiere Pro, and it's like,
That's what I use. Yeah, when I uploaded a bunch of footage into Premiere Pro one time when I was first starting, and I was like, oh yeah, this is what the professionals use, and I loaded it up. I actually didn't even load it up. Now that I think about it,
what do I do?
I imported it to the computer, and I was like, I don't even know how to get this footage in here.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on.
Yep.
So I actually started out with iMovie.
Yep.
Because it's like you cut and like move clips, and that's it.
Very intuitive.
Yeah, so I did that, and then I was like, okay, I need to move to Premiere Pro eventually.
Yeah.
I may as well get started on this learning curve now, and then YouTube. So I just
There you go.
I opened the program, and I was like, first question, how do I import footage? Go to YouTube, and then I just move through the list as I'm learning.
Cool.
And that helps me out a ton. Yeah. So that's what it is for video. I don't get to do that as much as I'd like to. It's a little bit harder, and that's. I didn't have like a full production.
Yeah.
And that's makes it harder to get jobs with if you don't have like a full work.
Yeah.
Because mostly what I did with video was like stuff through Instagram or just more hobby stuff. Now that I've finished that, it's a little easier. It's getting easier anyways to find jobs through video, which I really enjoy doing both sides of those things.
Well, it's nice, depending on what people need, you can offer that.
Yeah, it is. It's good to have that, full, range of motion, if you will, to be able to provide that for people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, where can people get in contact with you? What is your follow? Stuff like that.
Yeah, so you can follow my personal Instagram, which is just Sterling Grinnell. That's just my name. And then I also have my business Instagram, which is Peak 3 Studios. My website, peak3studios.com. It's pretty simple. That you can get in touch with me. There's a contact page there. Email me is probably the best way to reach me. And we can, set something up or
Cool.
whatever you're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll put all this stuff in the description below. So obviously you can listen to that and type it in really quick. But check out the description below. We're going to have Sterling's gear, things he wants, and just all those different things down in the description. All right, well,
might be a long list of things I want. But.
Yeah. We'll keep it condensed for this one. All right, again, this is Sterling Grinnell, and I'm Benji Kaiser. Thank you for watching this interview. Stay posted, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and we'll see you here on the next episode. Later.